Good evening, I'm Tips Mahoy, and this is ArthIntel Evening Edition. Coming up, Kennedy Center's future takes center stage amid demolition threat. Anti-immigration movements gain ground in Canada, Ireland, and beyond. GOP nominee for Maine governor calls for ICE agents at state polling places, Associated Press. That plus a check of the weather across the country. We begin tonight with the top stories from around the world. The Kennedy Center's future is now in a federal courtroom, after the Justice Department warned the 55-year-old building could be demolished if the Trump administration isn't allowed to move forward with renovations and adding the president's name. A judge already blocked one attempt to rename the center after Trump in May, ruling only Congress can change its name. But the Trump-appointed board has since voted to add an inscription crediting Trump with its restoration. Democratic Rep. Joyce Beatty is seeking an emergency court order to stop that plan, with a hearing expected Thursday. Rep. Rick Larson says the center needs structural repairs, but argues that no one is going to be allowed to demolish the Kennedy Center. A Canadian nationalist group called the Dominion Society is drawing national attention over its call for what it calls remigration. The removal of an estimated 5 to 9 million people from Canada, including temporary foreign workers, permanent residents, and Canadian-born children of non-citizen parents. The group, founded in July 2025, has scheduled its DomCon 2026 conference for August 29th near Hamilton, Ontario, and advertised Austrian activist Martin Sellner, who is permanently banned from the UK, as a speaker. Hamilton's mayor and local anti-racism groups have pressured venues not to host the event, citing the Canadian Anti-Hate Network's description of Dominion Society as part of Canada's broader white nationalist movement. The city says it will not rent municipal facilities to the group, and the originally booked venue has canceled. Dominion Society, which says it now has roughly 3,000 members, says it's keeping the conference's exact location secret to protect attendees from opponents. Turning now to politics. Your website should make you money, most don't. Toolbox Development builds sites that actually rank on Google and turn visitors into calls. No contracts. Find them at toolboxdevelopment.net. Maine's Republican nominee for governor, Bobby Charles, told supporters he plans to ask White House Border Czar Tom Homan to send ICE agents and U.S. Marshals to polling places ahead of the midterms, according to audio obtained by the Associated Press. Charles later said his goal was to prevent violence, intimidation, and illegal voting, insisting anyone legally entitled to vote should be free from intimidation. But Maine's Secretary of State Shenna Bellows says ICE agents are prohibited by law from being at polling places, calling Charles' comments just politics. The Maine Democratic Party's Devin Murphy Anderson called the plan likely illegal, and Charles will face Democrat Hannah Pingree in November. The Trump administration has directed U.S. embassies and consulates around the world to reschedule immigrant visa interviews, according to Fox News. The State Department says the pause allows consular officers to complete training on new guidance for determining whether an applicant is likely to become a public charge, a finding that can make someone ineligible for a visa under federal law. The agency says the training is meant to make evaluations comprehensive and consistent, and is expected to happen this week at most posts. Officials have not said when rescheduled interview dates will be set for affected applicants. Mike Lindell is suing Minnesota election officials, including Secretary of State Steve Simon, after losing the Republican gubernatorial primary to Lisa Demuth by about 45,000 votes. According to Lindell, state law required him to pay $825,000 for a recount by Monday. But he says the Secretary of State changed the scope at the last minute to only count votes for him and Demuth, rather than all candidates on the ballot. Lindell's campaign calls the move a bait-and switch, and has filed suit asking the Minnesota Supreme Court to force a full recount of all gubernatorial ballots. Lindell says he refused to pay under the new terms and will fight in court, claiming, "I paid this to have all of the votes counted, not just 2 people." Georgia has made history. Everton Blair has won a special election, becoming the state's first out LGBTQ+ member of Congress. But Blair's time in office will be brief. Another Democrat has already secured the nomination to represent the district starting next year, meaning Blair will serve for just 4 months. Blair is also seeking to become the first blackout gay man to represent the South in Congress. Turning now to finance and the crypto markets. This spot is available. ArthIntel reaches a daily news audience on the Evening Edition and across ArthIntel.com. To advertise with us, visit ArthIntel.com. Nvidia's stock jumped 4% after the chipmaker posted better-than-expected quarterly results and issued a bullish forecast. Net income more than doubled to $53.95 billion, or $2.22 per share, as revenue also more than doubled from the $46.7 billion reported a year earlier. CFO Colette Kress told analysts the company expects fiscal 2028 revenue growth of 70%, far outpacing Wall Street's estimate of 44%, though she noted the guidance reflects current supply constraints. Despite the strong quarter, Nvidia shares are up just 13% this year as investors weigh looming competition from AMD and Google, along with rising memory costs tied to a worldwide shortage. Bitcoin's rally may have further to go, according to Fairlead Strategies' Katie Stockton. Speaking with CNBC, Stockton said Bitcoin has climbed more than 25% since she turned bullish on Aug. 17, when it was trading around $64,000. She says Bitcoin has cleared its 200-day moving average, confirming what looks like a breakout from a basing period that began in June. Stockton is less bullish on gold, saying she expects more upside there too, but that the rally may hit resistance sooner and be less long-lived than Bitcoin's. Finally tonight, sports. Former Florida State quarterback Thomas Castellanos has committed to Texas Tech through the transfer portal. The move comes just days after a Kentucky judge granted a temporary injunction in an eligibility lawsuit involving Castellanos, meaning he won't be affected by a separate Colorado ruling that stripped eligibility from some class of 2022 athletes. Last season for the Seminoles, Castellanos completed 58.3% of his passes for 2,760 yards and 15 touchdowns, while rushing for 557 yards and 9 more scores. He's expected to serve as backup to starter Will Hammond for the Red Raiders, who enter the season as heavy favorites to win the Big 12. The NFL is ending the Pro Bowl after 75 years. The league announced Wednesday it's eliminating Pro Bowl activities altogether, though 88 players will still receive the honor of being named Pro Bowlers, selected by fans, players, and coaches just as before. There will no longer be alternates or an on-field event. Instead, selected players will be invited to Los Angeles for a celebration in February. NFL executive Peter O'Reilly said in a statement that the goal is for the selection to return to its original purpose of honoring the best of the best, while executive Troy Vincent Sr. said the decision came directly from players telling the league the recognition itself is what matters most to them. And finally, here's a look at temperatures across the country right now. It's hottest in Phoenix at 113 degrees, while New York is the coolest spot on the board this evening at 72. That's ArthIntel Evening Edition for now 10 stories coast to coast. I'm Tips Mahoy for ArthIntel, signal over noise. For deeper coverage and breaking headlines, head over to ArthIntel.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay ahead of the news.